Hey guys, it's Rob. And since it's like 2:30 in the morning on Friday, I guess yesterday was 249 days until I turned 30. Coming to you a little late tonight, so I'm going to try to be relatively quiet, be a good neighbor in the apartment complex. Um, so I got my edits back from my professional editor. We're going to talk about that today. First, the check-in. Um, Bouncing back up 3.5 pounds, not really at all worried about that. I had to weigh at a drastically different time of day and under pretty different conditions as well. So I expected it to be different. I'm not really taking that for, you know, damage done. Um, and like I said, the edit's back. So I've been looking through what my editor has underlined and changed and altered. And for the most part, I'm finding this dramatically easier than the stage of it where I was having people beta read and give feedback on the actual story and flow and that kind of stuff. When that happened, I would sit there and I would look at, their comments about this fumble or that fumble with how a scene went or how things were playing out. And I would get all bent out of shape about it and get anxious reading it. That grew substantially easier over time as I got used to it, but my first time facing it was really difficult. I got emotional about it, like it's, oh gosh, I'm a bad writer. Um, this feedback being more factual in nature and being more presentation slash rules following in the needs it fulfills. Um, wasn't that hard to absorb. I've certainly written down my share of questions for the editor. I'll be firing off an email to her about that shortly. But that it's. I guess I kind of expected to have more to say about the whole professional edit process, but in the end, it seems more or less straightforward. Um, so, after I do my final little responsive touch up to all the things she's said, um, where it's basically confirming, that I like everything I see, um, and I've seen a few spots where she made a correction, and I understand the spirit of that correction, so I'm going to redo something that is also in the spirit of that correction, that I see where the problem was. Um, Not too much of that, I promise. I'm being a good writer. I'm listening to the editor, I promise. Um, After that, it's cover art, layout, and publish, which means I need to really focus on cover arting, layouting, and publishing, because that's stuff that I should have been cracking the whip on during these past couple weeks, but I didn't, because I got myself fixated on other projects or otherwise distracted um, on things that are not the thing that's super close to actually being saleable. So let's get that done. I feel cautiously optimistic that I will be selling a product before Christmas. It would be super cool. This entire mission. Another little side note is that as I've gone through since the whole start of this Journey to 30 project, and I've had to state this countdown till I turn 30, it's made me abundantly aware of time passing and how easy it is to let the unproductive days accumulate and snowball. There are times when I lay down in bed at night and I'm thinking to myself, well, you shot another one, like not much got done today. And you only have a limited number of days. Um, so I don't want to come to you presuming to tell you how to live your life or find what brings you joy. But like you may be perfectly satisfied with what you're accomplishing. You may be happy. You may not be concerned about it. If so, great. But if you have that little voice inside of you that's saying, you're coasting along and something's wrong, you're not actually happy yet, which is the voice that I heard when I started this project, which is the voice that said, "Holy smokes, you're 275 pounds and you're not amounting to anything, and you're not going to be happy till you do." Um, if that voice is keeping you up at night, um, there's not, in my experience, I preface it with that, there's not much of a substitute for actually doing. That you can only put so much balm and so much good intentions and silver linings around it. Um, at a certain point, you're going to need to answer that voice. You're going to need to tell it, you know, all right, I'm rising to the challenge. And as much as this whole process has gone way slower than anticipated, uh, I'm proud of what I've gotten done. That I can look back on it and say, I've got this thing now that I didn't have before, that didn't exist before, wrought by the imagination rumbling around in my head. And yeah, it's exciting. So if you have that same kind of thing going on in your head, and you keep saying, oh, I should get around to it, oh, I should get around to it, that voice isn't going to just shut up one day. And I don't think you're going to be satisfied until you at least give it a shot. You don't have to succeed necessarily to silence the voice, but you probably do have to try. Man, recording late night makes me sincere and heartfelt, more so than usual, I guess. So yeah. Also, I was just listening to Make You Feel My Love by Adele on like loop for the past half hour and singing along with it, so I'm also in that zone. It's that song gets you right in the feels. So that could have something to do with it too. That's enough for me for today, for 2:30 in the morning. Take care as always. Share this with anyone you think might enjoy it, might benefit from it. Has brought up the same kinds of questions that I address or go through. And have a great weekend. Take care, and I'll see you Monday.